All right, folks. I kind of lied to you guys on the last video. I said my next scouting mission will be on private land, but we have a map reading challenge I forgot about that we're going to do. This is Sean McVeigh, and your channel is called
Sean's Outdoor Adventures is my primary channel.
Okay.
And then I have an offshoot channel that I started just for the map reading challenge. So I also have a channel called the Map Reading Challenge now.
What is your YouTube main channel, the content? What is the basic?
Mainly archery and bow hunting is my main thing for deer. I know you're the big turkey guy, but most of my stuff is focused on the deer. And just passed 62,000 subscribers the other day, so that was an exciting moment.
Nice.
Looking forward to the day when I get up to 100. You can help me do that if you want to go over to my channel and subscribe. But yeah, so it's mostly archery and bow hunting. That's my mainstay.
So what we're down here doing is you invited me to do a map reading challenge, and this is something you've been doing for a few years now.
Yeah, kind of. It just evolved. I mean, I'm sure guys do this. I just sort of evolved into an actual titled thing. But I started off maybe almost 10 years ago even. I would pick places on a map like 4 hours away from where I live, somewhere I'd never been, and I would just try to look at the map and say, where are the deer going to be? And then I would drive there, scout for one day, and then go back in hunting season to see if I could be successful. So I started to call it the Map Reading Challenge, because I was challenging myself to put myself on the deer just from reading maps. And so over the years it's kind of evolved, and then I started having some of my viewers coming out with me, and then now that I'm out here in Iowa, I live out in Iowa, I was like, let me see if I can meet up with some guys out this way. I looked you up, and Garrett Prawl from Do It Yourself Sportsman, and so the three of us are gonna do a map reading challenge here in Wisconsin, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, so there's another team in Pennsylvania, and we're not really competing against each other. We're just showing different styles and showing basically how we go about reading the maps. So here in Wisconsin, it's going to be you, myself, and DIY sportsman Garrett Prawl. It'll be interesting, and we've got a long day ahead of us. We got lucky. The weather.
It's 46 degrees right now. I'm shivering out here. I gotta get moving.
Weather cooled off, the humidity dropped, but when you get out here, especially I have a marsh I had to scout. That's hard work getting through those cattails sometimes. So I really appreciate the cooler temperatures and low humidity. So we're not going to waste any more time here. We're going to hit the woods, and hopefully you guys enjoy what you're going to see today. And like I promised before, we'll get to the private land scouting later. I don't know how enthused most of you are about that, but
scouting leads to hunting. Andrew Penn says scouting leads to hunting. So Andrew's in the map reading challenge, so he'll be one of the guys you'll see if you check it out. But scouting leads to hunting, and hunting's awesome.
We got some nice bucks in the private, but I'm anxious to see what it's out here on the public. So we'll touch base with you guys when we get out in the woods.
All right, man.
So that was pretty cool to see. Came by this clear cut just a moment ago and noticed that buck standing out there and went on down the road where he couldn't see me anymore and turned around and got the camera ready and came back, and luckily he was still standing there. So not a huge buck, but nice to see anyway. I'll go ahead and mark that spot on the map just for the heck of it, and who knows, I'm probably not going to come in there and try and target him or anything, but I always mark sightings whenever I see a deer, buck, doe, whatever. So let's head on to our marsh spot and get out there and start scouting it. All right, so here we are, and a little different than I imagined. It's hard to tell what's growing out here from a satellite image. I was guessing maybe cattails and tamaracks, but I mean, it is wet out here. It's kind of boggy. It's not really soft, but it's kind of wet. But there's a lot of, I mean, there's a tamarack, but then there's a pine tree, and some pine trees out there, and some other types of trees that wouldn't normally do well in standing water. So, I mean, there must be some, it must be dry enough that they can survive, obviously. So, I mean, it's a marsh of sorts, but not exactly the same type I've been hunting. But at least it'll make it a little easier walking out here. So let's head on out here, and I've got pins dropped on the map that I want to check out, and we'll see what they look like. Pretty good deer trail right here. I'll go ahead and drop a pin on it. They're basically running the edge of this these woods here. So I didn't walk but 10 more feet and cross another trail here, and got that one right there, and they're intersecting. And there's two really good trees right here. We've got a big pine right here, and it puts you real close to the trails. But about 25, 30 yards away, there's that pine, and that would be real easy to get to without leaving a bunch of scent out here. And you'd be able to hunt both these trails. So I'm gonna take a picture of both these trees and have them marked on the map. So that could be a good starting spot right there, and then just work my way out on the 3 days I'm here hunting. Yeah, another trail. I mean, this place is just littered with trails. And because you can see how soft this is when I step, they stick to a certain trail, and they're easier to see, the trails are. Deer poop, so we know they're currently using the area. See a trail right here, lots of tracks cutting right across. Another trail going out this way. You can actually see this fern's kind of pushed over where something possibly stepped on near the base of it, and you can see some tracks here in the soft mud or whatever you call it. Nothing huge. If I was a deer, I'd be bedding up in here somewhere. So let's take a little peek at those spots. All right, we got a bed right here. All right, we got a bed. Got a bed right here. You can see where the ferns have been matted down. That in there is broken off. So we'll mark this. It's a little wet there, but doesn't seem to be bothering the deer. I got a twig or something in my ear. See deer poop right there. You can see where deer laid down right here. Standing water in there, so they're not laying in that. You can see where the deer have been stepping in here. So right here is a pine tree that, looking at the satellite images, it looked like it was a big enough tree to hang a stand in and watch a lot of these trails you can see from the satellite images. Maybe getting deer coming off these islands. And it is indeed big enough for a stand. So I'm gonna take a picture of it, mark it on the map as a good suitable tree. Got a trail coming right by it this side. There's some trails on the other side. Trails coming from this way. So this would be one of those trees that when I hunted the first spot, and if I didn't see anything and I wanted to get deeper, I'd come here and set up on this one and hopefully catch deer getting out of the bed and working this way. Problem is there's some beds here, and I'm not convinced they're buck beds, so they could be doe beds or just casual beds. Deer lay down, you know, and don't use them on a regular basis. But anyway, we'll mark this tree on the map and get a picture of it And like I said in a previous video, I use Google Photos, and with my GPS turned on and take a picture, it'll show me exactly on the map where this tree's located. So I was just marking this tree on my map, and I noticed that I'd already marked a spot to look for a tree, because from the satellite images there was a huge trail coming off that side. There's another trail right here along the edge of the island, but I'm gonna walk over there and look and actually visibly take a look at that trail and see if it's indeed as well used as it indicates on the satellite image. And I'm also gonna look for a tree on this side. I see a small, yeah, that's a small white oak. There's a trail coming off right here. There's just tons of trails coming off this island. There's a small oak there that might give a little bit of extra cover. That in there's kind of skylined a little bit. And actually that first tree I picked would be big, close enough to reach these trails. Here's this good trail coming off right here. And here's that trail going along the edge here. Whoa. All right, here's that big trail. And I'm not so sure it's just a big trail or just standing water, but yeah, you can see the trail goes right across there. I think that's a suitable tree as it is. So we're gonna stick with that one. 25-yard shot. Slip into it, and then you catch deer coming across here. Be a good spot. Let's head on over there to the big island and then work our way back. See where the deer stepped on these reed grasses, squished them down. They've been stomping it down pretty good right through here. This gets a little taller. You see the difference. I'm seeing a transition right here. This is more vast open bog and grass, whereas where I've been scouting, got a lot of these small trees and stuff kind of break it up, possibly making the deer feel more secure. So that probably explains why this seems to be a good highway trail here, multiple trails converging. It's because they're working right on this edge, trying to stay out of the open and stay right on the edge of this cover. Something I'll jot down here in just a minute on my app as soon as I get to this island. All right, we got some big oaks here, and the trail comes right between them. So, maybe I don't have to sit at the end of the island, but sit here on this one oak over here and catch them as they come through. And maybe if there's some acorns dropping. Yeah, I see quite a few acorns on this tree. A nice cluster there, something there. Yeah, this tree here's got acorns all over it. All right, so now we know how the deer are going to approach. Most likely come down this main trail right on the point, which is about 25 yards away. And then right here we have some red oaks, there, and another one there. And most of them have acorns on them, and I can hear them dropping here when the wind picked up. This one here has quite a few on there. Right on the tip of the branches you can see a bunch of them. And there's probably more up there I just can't see with the naked eye. But anyway, let's see about how we're going to set up for this location. So we have this tree here, but we're going to have our vision and our shots obscured by this big oak right here. We'd have to wait till they get here, and if they don't make it there, then you lose your opportunity. Then we have this oak right here, which means they're going to be coming straight at me, and I won't be able to take a shot until they turn, which they may do when they get to this acorn tree and start feeding on it, this red oak. But they could also potentially bust me. Then you got this in here, same thing. They're going to be looking right at it. There's another big oak there, and I imagine it's got acorns on it too. I think I see a few acorns out on the end. That's going to be a little tricky, but it has some good cover. So I'll have to think about it. This is going to be a good spot, I think. I was thinking about it. Maybe I should just charge right here on day one. This is about some of the best signs, but I don't know. We'll get home and we'll weigh all the factors, everything I found, and go from there. So how'd it go?
It went well, man, except for the fact that they're logging on the one spot that I had looked at.
Yeah.
So when I was here in March, it looked awesome. And I went.
Now, have they cut any of the areas you scouted?
Well, not yet. So, but the logging road goes all the way around where I scouted. There's a big loop around it.
You told me on the phone you were talking to one of the loggers.
Yeah, I just talked to the guy. It was a young guy, so he just didn't know anything. I was like, do you know how far you're going?
Oh.
And he's like,
so come late September, all your trees may be gone.
It's possible.
The logging hopefully won't get to your area. But as far as deer sign, did you see any deer? Did you see any deer sign?
I saw lots of tracks, lots of scat, lots of acorns on the ground. I mean, the deer have so much food to eat.
No deer sightings though?
I didn't see any myself,
okay.
no. It was pretty thick in like where I was going through the woods. It was thick. I mean, they could have heard me coming a mile away.
Hey, I was wondering about the acorn crop because when you get out in these bogs and marshes like I was scouting, it's you don't see any oaks out there. Yeah. I mean, usually if you find an island that's high enough off the ground where an oak can grow, sometimes they'll have acorns. And I was pleasantly surprised. There was one small island out there and it was loaded with acorns. It was like a bunch of red oaks and one white oak that I saw a few on it. But most of the deer sign I saw was, I saw a lot of deer sign out there, but all the deer I jumped and saw and all the fresh tracks were on the mainland. Yeah. But all those were small tracks, like yearling deer and does. Yeah. And I'm wondering if the big bucks, because I did find some beds. I don't know if they're buck beds. I did find some beds out there. Yeah. But I'm pleased with what I found.
I found one trail that you could see the scrapes all along this trail from last year that, it just hasn't grown over. And I just followed that trail and it went a long way and there was just scrapes. I'm thinking, man, if I don't score in September and I want to come back in the rut, I picked a tree along that trail. There's bucks just going to cruise that trail.
How far of a drive is it for you? 4 hours?
It's about 4.5 hour drive, so it's not something I'm going to do on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours for me, which is borderline too far for me to come down here and do an observational sit because I contemplated, because the grass out in this bog is so short, this is a perfect spot to come hang a tree right on the edge of it and glass and watch movement and then pick a tree. But I think what I'm going to do is, just because it's so far from the house, is just wait till my first hunt and just kind of take it conservatively and work my way deeper.
Yeah, there's a good number of deer here.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of deer. So there's more deer here than my areas I've been scouting in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm seeing tons of deer sign here, and so I think that just about anywhere we go, we're going to be on deer. It's just going to be a question of whether
finding
it's
the right deer. All right, folks. Well, that's our mapping challenge scouting for summer, and then we'll be back down here late September. Yeah. And until then, I'll probably put out another scouting video back home on the private, and one more chunk of public I may hit, I'm not sure yet. And then we're off to North Dakota, Garrett, Prawl, and I, last weekend in August. So we'll get the ball rolling here soon on the deer, and then we'll be back down here to meet up with Sean for the mapping challenge.